I want to call to mind in the sermon today a couple of things from the gospel reading. If you pull out the bulletin, you might want to refer to this. And it's a couple of three phrases of the scripture. And the first phrase that jumped out at me from the scripture is a two-word phrase, from childhood. From childhood. Now, the gospel passage talks about a father and his son, and the son had a deaf and dumb spirit in him. It doesn't indicate the ages of these people, but from childhood it would indicate that perhaps the man who was ill was no longer a child, maybe he was a young adult, maybe he was 25 years old, at the age where you would not call him a child, but you could still call him his father's boy, because we read the word boy later on in the chapter. So imagine this young man is maybe 25 years old. He's suffered with this for a very long time. And his poor father, maybe he's 50 years old, about the age that you would be if your child was 25. And this poor father has seen his son suffer his entire life. And he goes to Jesus pleading, please do something. I am a loving and proud and happy father, and I'm sad that I'm seeing my son in the condition that he's in. Please do something to help us. And so when I see the phrase from childhood, I want to bring something to our minds, which is that many of us bring our positive and our not so positive qualities. Many of those are coming from our childhood. Many of those are coming from our childhood. As I get older and I realize my shortcomings, I realize that the seeds for a lot of those things were sown in my childhood. Not because of anything that my parents did necessarily, but because of just my life experience. Maybe my genetic makeup, maybe my life experience, my life circumstance. I developed certain ideas and certain habits, certain strengths and certain weaknesses, and I have them from childhood. And then let's say that I get into middle adulthood, which is where I'm at right now, and I realize that I've got some significant flaw. And what do I do about that significant flaw that I might have? And everybody has one. I will confess to you, my flaws, I'm not good with confrontation. Many of you know that, right? That's something that some people like that. Most people don't like it. And some people, even if they don't like it, they're good at it. And I'm one of those people who don't like it and am not good at it. All right? And so this is something that I have to work through, even in my middle to older age. But the good news is that I'm still 43, and hopefully I can change that. Now, I was discussing with the group at the retreat yesterday, and with some other people that I've talked to during this night. I've talked to many of you, and so if you've heard the story, pardon the redundancy. But let's imagine that you are 43 years old, like I am, and you don't know how to ride a bike. And some friends of yours invite you, let's go out on a 20-mile bike ride. And so you say, what am I going to do? I have options. I can go on the bike ride and probably hurt myself, because I don't know what I'm doing. I can be truthful and say, I really don't know how to ride a bike. And then, then people will say, what's wrong with you? You're 43 years old. You should know how to ride a bike by this age. I could tell a little lie. I have something to do. I can't come with you. Or I could tell a grand lie. I was an Olympic biking champion. But I hurt my knee and I'm no longer allowed to go bike riding. This way, I don't have to go bike riding and you respect me, even though I don't know what I'm doing. All right? And so many people, they sort of go for the grand lie. Because, to be truthful, I don't know what I'm doing. Or to go along and not knowing what you're doing and get hurt. Or to tell the little lie I'm busy. It's just, these are not good options. So we take, the grand lie, and then we just kind of perpetuate that. Now, the thing that I should do is I should say, look, we're good friends, right? I like you, you like me. Why don't will you go with me in the back parking lot, when the lights go down, and we'll get a bike, we'll put some training wheels on it, and you teach me how to ride a bike. And I will be humble and I will learn, and you'll be patient and you won't laugh. All right, now, how many people are going to go for that option? We're not going to go for that option, right? Because it breaks down with I'm going to be humble, right? Because no one wants to be humble and admit something. And it breaks down with you being patient, because we usually laugh at other people's shortcomings. So what we're supposed to be doing as Christians is creating an environment that allows for people and their shortcomings to be corrected. I mean, it would be a grand lie if we all put up our hand and said, I have no shortcomings, right? I mean, we'd all be lying if we said that, because we all have shortcomings. I have them, you have them, we all have them. So what we should be doing is saying, all right, we're friends. I like you, you like me. Let's make an environment where we can address our shortcomings so that I can grow and you can grow and we can go take that bike ride and no one has to lie and no one's going to get hurt. That's what we're supposed to be doing in our environment. So that's one thing that I want to bring to your mind. And this goes for your church community, it goes for your neighborhood association, it goes with your co-workers at work. In our childhood, when we were little growing up, we wish that we knew the stuff that we know now. And sometimes we're infants in other things. I mean, when I was an infant priest, a brand new priest, for a year old, and I'm just, a baby, I wish there were things that I knew then that I know now, because I would have been a better priest back then. The same thing in marriage. When I was newly married and I was an infant in marriage, I wish that there were things that I knew now that I knew back then, because I would have a stronger marriage. I'd be a stronger priest. I'd be a stronger human being. All right? But the only way that I can be a stronger human being is to be able to say, I have a weakness, and for you to say, I'll be patient and I'll help you work through that and improve that. So it's no longer a weakness, maybe it becomes a strength. That's the first thing. The second thing, second line. The father of the child cried out, I believe, help my unbelief. If we're all honest, just about every Christian cries that out at some point or other. I believe, right? We're all here and we all believe in something. At the very least, everyone in church believes that church is somehow important or you wouldn't be here. Hopefully everyone says, I believe in God. But how many of you, and I don't want to ask for a show of hands, how many of you have, maybe a few doubts about your faith? Maybe because life's throwing you a couple curveballs, you don't understand them. Or God has let you down, or you're 40-something years old, or 50-something years old, and you thought you'd be in a different spot in your life. I mean, this phrase, I believe, help my unbelief, what a comforting phrase of Scripture, because it kind of describes everybody. I believe, that's why I'm here. Help my unbelief. Help the times where I'm not believing as strongly as I should believe. And again, if we're all honest, that describes everybody. What a great prayer. To get down on your knees every morning and say, Lord, I believe. I believe. That's why I'm on my knees and I'm praying to you. But help my unbelief. Help me when I go outside this house and I get assaulted by all the temptations in society, by all the people who aren't trying to be like you. Help my unbelief. Help me in the times I'm tempted to believe stronger. And the final thing, the final line of this that comes to my attention is when the disciples came to the Lord and they said, Lord, why could we not take care of this problem? Why couldn't we heal this man? Because he came to us first. I mean, after all, we're your disciples. I mean, we believe. Why could we not figure this problem out? And the Lord said to them, this kind cannot be driven out by anything but prayer and fasting. So many times we're reading this, and many times in years past I've given sermons on prayer and fasting. And why prayer and fasting are important. I said a few weeks ago that we've overdone the fasting a little bit, making it so legalistic. That's not what fasting is. Fasting is learning to control something, your desire to eat, so that you can control other things, like your desire to get upset with people, or be impatient. And prayer just sets the tone for everything. Prayer sets the tone, sets the background for your whole life. If I wake up every morning and I say, Lord, please, if you can grant me anything today, grant that only nice things come out of my mouth. Imagine if I said that prayer. And I just said it over and over again, 10 times. Lord, I'm not asking for anything today, just when I open my mouth, which I know I will, just please help me put nice things coming out of it. Let's say I ask for only that. I don't throw the Hail Mary, Lord, please, I didn't study for the test, grant me mercy, I don't deserve anything, but let me pass it anyway. Not that prayer. All right, many of us are off of that prayer. Just saying, let only nice things come out of my mouth. How long do you think it's going to take for something not nice to come out of your mouth if you've said that prayer 10 times? It's going to take a long time because you've said it with your mouth, Lord, please help me. I beg you, please help me. But if you go and your prayer is, Lord, let me conquer everyone today, and then you're going to come out and maybe not nice things are going to come out of your mouth because you haven't addressed that. So there are certain things that we have that can be cast out by prayer and fasting. Now I want you to look at this verse, and I'm going to leave you with this thought. This kind can only be cast out by prayer and fasting. And I want you to do something when you go home. I want you to look at this line of the bulletin, of this line of Scripture, And I want you to put this phrase in. I can only cast out blank by blank and blank. All right, I want you to write that phrase down when you go home. I can only cast out blank. You fill in the blank. By blank and blank. Like for instance, I can only cast out impatience by whatever, 2 things that are going to help me do that. I can only cast out anger by X and Y. All right? I can only cast out jealousy by A and B. I want you to look at a couple things in your life and say, I can cast out this bad pathology I have, maybe from my youth. I can cast that out by 2 things. You fill in the blank. I can cast out my problem by this and this. All right? Do that this week. Spend some time today before you go to bed tonight. Write that down and pick one thing that you're doing wrong and map out a 2-point strategy for how to fix that. This demon came out of this child only by prayer and fasting. Everyone's got some kind of a demon. A demon is an awful thing we don't want inside of us. So take one of the demons that we all have and say, I can get rid of that demon by a 2-point plan. And this week, work on that 2-point plan. Thank you for being here. Thank you for believing. Even if the belief is not strong, you came today. It shows that you have a belief. No one here can say, I believe nothing. At the very least, you believe that being here was important. So thank you that you came today. And have a wonderful and beautiful week. God bless you.